Hello, Jamie back from Inky and Scrappy. I think we're gonna do a little scene card today. We'll see, you know, as time develops. I never know where I'm going. The colors I'm using today might not be in the 60 set of Ohuhu markers. I have some pre-picked ones out, and I'm gonna use those. And we'll see. I think some of them are, but I don't think all of them are. And I'm feeling lazy on picking today, and so this is where we're at. Yep. Do I want the big frog or the little frog? I think the little frog is so adorable. There's another teeny tiny frog on another set. I can't remember what the set is. We'll do some of those. I'm thinking if we do a few images, and then of course we can make a pond of some sort. Do I want the big pad or the little pad? I think the little pad will be enough. And I want the little flower then. So a lot of images. I think we'll keep the coloring simple. I'm going to bring in the little dragonfly too because he's cute. I'll probably stamp him twice. He should be easy enough to color. Okay, so once I have all my stamps picked out here, I'm just building the scene in my head, and so it might not make sense on paper yet. We'll figure it out. I'm thinking, I have dies, but I'm thinking we'll make it work. There is a stamp set that has a pond in it too, somewhere. I don't know which one it is off the top of my head. So I'm using the Lisa Horton Cloud 9, a solid black ink pad, of course, with the totally awesome stamp set from Fawn Today. So hopefully if you are celebrating Easter, you are ready for Easter. If you're not celebrating Easter, you're just having a beautiful spring day. All the good fun. You see the double impression there. So this is a single and that's the double. I like this one because it dries really fast. My issue is that it's not very dark. It's the lighter of the two. So if you can double stamp, you get that darker image outline, which I like. So keep that in mind. I do still like the Lawn Fawn Jet Black, but it does just require more dry time. As does, I think, which other ones have I tried? I'm not seeing it. The Hero Arts one, and the one that's no longer up in my space, which is Ultra New, maybe? No, Pink Fresh, I think is the other one that I've tried. And I just haven't been in love with their dry time. So you know, for this series especially, I just like to stamp and color and go. And so this one has been the best for that, but I would definitely double stamp if you can, and so therefore a stamp platform, if you want that darker black impression, is kind of required. I just made a mess. Okay. His little eyeballs really don't have green on them, so we'll go like that. We'll go really dark with him. So I did my first layer of green down. Now I'm just going to take my marker and color in the whole area. So the area that I've already colored, and the area that I haven't colored yet. So this will give me that tone on tone that's going to build and make it look like one color is darker than the other. But I'm really just using the same marker. Just adding layers of that ink on top of each other to give it the impression that I'm using more than one color. The other option you have is, so I want his tummy to be lighter, so I'm going to color it one time with the green I used on his body. And then I'm going to come in with a deep cream. This one's deep cream. I don't know what the new numbers are going to be. The old number is 190, and I'm going to go over that one on top of it. Two reasons. You're going to get a little bit It's going to push the darker color back out, and it's going to change it a little bit. It's going to give it a little bit more of a yellow hint or hue, and as it dries, you're going to see it's going to get lighter there. I don't think you can see it the greatest on camera, but in person you can kind of see it. So don't be afraid to layer your colors. Remember, they're translucent, so pink on top of blue is going to give you a shade of purple. Just keep that in mind, so it's not like you're not stuck with just the 60 colors that are in your 60 set, right? You can definitely layer them on top of each other. So don't feel sad that you only have 60, because you have endless possibilities there. Adding yellows to your greens, blues to your greens is going to give you some more color options. I don't do a lot of it. I do it from time to time, so I can't give you any hints on which ones are going to look well, but definitely don't be afraid to try it. This little guy, I think I want his spots to be darker green. So I'm going to hit those 3 times. I'm trying to decide if I want, how dark I want him. I think I'm going to make him a little bit lighter. You know, the other option is, like, he's going to be jumping into the pond, right? So you could go with a blue tone on top of this one when you're all done to kind of reflect the light from the pond. You know, because obviously sunlight's going to reflect from the pond. So this one is G369, the matcha green in the old number system. And this one. So this is that lighter tone. I am going to go over the area that I already colored once with the darker color. This will help to blend it in a little bit more with that one. And so not all the way over it, but just partly over it. So I'm kind of adding another layer of color, but I'm overlapping them just slightly. And then I can go with my marker and do the whole. And at this point, you don't need to color over the darkest area, just making sure that you hit that lighter color that you've already colored the first layer of. You want to give that one a second layer, so it kind of has a little bit darker green tint to it than the lighter one did. Oh look, I colored outside the lines again. Go figure. I'm going to take a very light blue-gray, the lightest one that I have. I'm just going to add a little bit of that to the little eyes. This just gives them the effect of looking wet and round. You can definitely hit those with some glossy accents when we're all done with the card. Greens. I'm gonna go, do I want a darker light? He's gonna sit on there. I think he's just gonna be on my lily pad, is just gonna be hanging out. So I'm gonna go, I picked the dark side or the thick side because I was being lazy. Not so much lazy as I just wanted to get the color on there quick. I'm not too worried about detail on that one. Now this little guy, you could definitely bring in some yellows on this one. Let me grab. Well, we'll just go with a pastel yellow, which is Y494. And I want to add some yellows into my greenery here, just because I don't want it to be all the same color as the other green, but I don't want to have to dig through my greens and find something that's going to coordinate. So we're just going to do this. I'm going to go with my lightest green tone on this one. I'm going to start with the base and kind of give myself a darker shoot on the bottom. And then once that's dry, I can come back in with this one and go over that whole area one more time. Laying in that yellow undertone is going to change the green on this one to just a little bit different shading than this one. It's definitely a little more of a yellow green. I mean, this one's yellow green, but it has a little bit more yellow to it, so it's going to look a little bit different For the brown, I have a dark brown out, so I'm going to use that one. Now for cattails, I'm going to add the little dots first. My favorite was always watching the cattails explode. It wasn't very often that you'd get to see it, but if you were ended up being close, you got to see it, and it was always cool. For my little flower, I'm going to come in with the rose pink, which is RV390. I'm going to start with the inside of the flower, so the base here, and then the petal bases, so kind of the inside of the petals, or the center, I don't want to say center, where the petals would attach to the stem, or the base, I guess. And then I'm going to add a second layer over the top. And if it's too dark for you, go ahead and add in that colorless blender and kind of just hit the tips with that colorless blender. It's going to push that pink back out a little bit, so it's not going to be quite as... And you could definitely do tip to tip on this one as well. I'm going to add in a little bit of purple, so I'm going to go V369, which is the lavender. I'm going to add that onto my little dragonfly wings. And I don't want this one to be quite as dark. I could bring in the light royal purple, but I'm just going to do some tip to tip on this one. So 1, 2. And I probably could have done this for the whole coloring, because I want it to get fairly light here, and it's such a tiny little area. It's going to take a little bit. And then rotating your marker a little bit is going to give you an area that maybe has more color on it yet, so keep that in mind. And then I'm going to scribble that one off to the side as well. And then, oh, well, it helps if you put the right cap on the right marker. And then we just have that big old log yet. So I'm going to come in with the dark brown, and I'm going to lay down this one with the big side right away. I just want to get a lot of ink down right away, and I can always come in and add more shade later on. This is just going to help me cover the area, and then I can come back and add texture. So coloring with alcohol markers, you can do it this way, where you color the whole area with your lightest tone or one tone, and then come back in after it's dried a little bit and add your darker layers in. So don't feel like you have to do darkest to lightest. Sometimes I do the lighter tone first and then come back in. So at this point, I'm going to come back in and kind of follow those lines for shading where I think it's going to be a little bit darker. And you can definitely do this one first. It's easier to see for you when I do it the other way, I think, in my opinion, but both ways work well. And I want this branch to kind of look like it comes down a little bit. Now for the frog, I said we can come in with like a blue tone and kind of give the reflection of, I'm just grabbing, so I have no clue color wise, but if we want to add just a little bit of, looks like it's maybe reflecting onto him, a little bit of the blue here. And you're not going to see it right now. It's going to dry back a little bit more. So I just pulled in a blue sky, or sky blue for this one. Once it dries back, you'll see it a little bit more in there. But ultimately, that's what we did. So these need to get cut out. What do I want to do? None of those are... Just in case you were looking for the ones that I used. Maybe. Possibly. Okay, we're not going to fit. So I added 3 little tufts of grass there. I colored them the same way I did those. I just added... I did the darker ones. I don't know if I like the darker ones. I'd stick to the lighter colors. Just saying. I need... So for this, I usually use washi tape to kind of keep all of my things together. So I keep my life together. No wonder why it's falling all over the... I'm just kidding. Washi tape doesn't stick very good. At least not for me. It doesn't stick very good. So it tends to be the least likely to stay stuck. Depends on the washi, but lately that has been my that one's too close. We'll do this one. So I just line them up with the inside so you can see the inside. On these at least, they kind of have a lot more space on the outside. This set does, so this must be, I'm guessing this is an older die set from Fawn. Don't quote me on that one. I have no clue. I think this one came in a grab bag bundle that I bought off of like a resale site. Hence I had the die set, but I didn't have the dies, so. Let's see, what else can we get cut out here? I can do this one. Ooh, I might even be able to. I tried double stamping this one with, whoops. Okay, we'll go this one. And say this one's gonna have to get cut out 3 times, so I'm gonna add that one. I can come back and do that one. Sometimes they're just too close to each other to cut out. I don't leave a lot of space. So, conserve paper. Feel free to leave more space in between your images than I do. I usually try to leave enough space if I decide to do the Brother Scannicut, but not always the dies because they have that border on them. I think we're good there. Okay, I'll get the rest on my second pass. And then we can pop all of those pieces out. Where did... I'm going to say I should put these, you know, in that little tray I found earlier this week. I don't need that one again, but I do need this one. So as I pop out the ones that are duplicates, I'm going to reline up the dies for the next image. I like to reuse my washi multiple times. It's good for multiple passes, so it's never a bad thing. Okay, I can cut out that one as well if I do this one first. And I need that little guy. We will run this one through. I started cleaning my craft room, reorganizing again, which I do like, I swear, every month. It doesn't ever get any better. It seems to get worse over time. Why is that? Why? Those in there anymore. Okay. On this one, I just need to go just that one little one, so I'm going to put it right on the front here. It's going to be faster for me to go forward and backwards just to get that one last little one done. Maybe. Okay. Now for my pond, I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. Surprise, surprise. I might have a stencil that would work for it. I was kind of thinking about just free cutting one and making it work that way. So for my dies, I usually get magnet sheets from Amazon. Super, I don't know, reasonable. I guess they're not, maybe not the cheapest, but they're reasonably priced. I want to say Marietta magnets, and I want to say I usually buy them in the 100 pack because I tend to go through them quicker than I would like to think that I buy things at. But this tends to keep all of your die cut pieces, you know, attached, right? So they kind of stay stuck to this, and so you don't have to worry about them falling and flying all over the place. So I will put this one, well, obviously that one needs to go back. So I was kind of thinking I would do, we have options. I was kind of thinking I would do maybe some pattern paper. Good golly. It's stuck. Oh, it like glued itself to the top. Okay, it's been in there for a little while, I guess. I was kind of thinking of doing this one. Where's this? Where is the... Well, I just saw it. Here we go. I was thinking about doing this one as kind of the backdrop, and then doing... I thought there was a green in here. Is there a plain green? Oh, maybe there's not. Okay, well, I'll find a different green maybe. And then do... We could do this one for the pond if we're just going to hand cut it out. I mean, this one would work for the green, but it's not great on the green front, so let's grab. I need an A2 size piece. Is that one gonna work? We're gonna do patterns today, I guess. That's where we're headed. I need... So we're going to do this one for our background piece. And I think I want to cut this down to, let's go 4 so we have a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch border. Do I want to do 4? Let's do 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 is going to give us a 1/4 inch all the way around, which means I'm taking 1/2 inch off of my A2 size front. So 3 3/4 would equal 5 inches on my A5 card front here. And then for this one, we can come in with this one and do how high up? We'll do, I can cut this one. So I'm just going to make it straight right now and then cut this one at 3 3/4. And then for our water feature, I'm thinking, how big do I want my, do I want it this way or do I want my ripples? I think my ripples are going to go that way. So I'm going to cut this one at, I don't need this one to be the full thing. So if I go 3 1/2, I know that when I cut it down, it'll be small enough. So I should have to decide on my cuts. All right. So for this one, so this one is going to go here. I'm going to just make a little hillside cut on this one. I'm just going to freehand it. If you have dies and you'd prefer to do it that way, go ahead and do it that way. I'm just going to go kind of round it gently on top. It's not going to be perfect. I don't want it to be perfect. It's kind of the look I'm going for. Now for my little pond piece, I kind of want it to be circular in shape, but it doesn't have to be a hard and fast circle, I guess. So I kind of want to come down, make it look like a little pond shape. And I can always make it smaller, right? But I think we'll be okay with, I think I want to make it a little bit skinnier. But other than, just because I have a lot of other pieces here, so I'm just gonna trim this one off a little. And I'm just going a little bit at a time. I don't want to do a lot right away and then regret my decisions later on. And trying to move your paper to the scissors is going to give you a smoother line cut and hopefully not quite as jaggedy. I have a little bit of jaggedness here and there. I think somebody washed your brushes yesterday. You know what I wanted to do yesterday as soon as I had them all washed? Make ink blend backgrounds. Did I? No. I chose not to, but ooh, it was hard. I mean, wakes. I think peacock feathers is probably going to be the best one for this one. I just want to add a little bit. You can skip this step if you want to. It's definitely not needed. I was just going to add a little bit to this one. And then for this one, I'm going to bring in, so that one was peacock feathers. And then for this one, it's probably like a twisted citron maybe, or a shabby shutters. I think shabby shutters is going to be too light, so I'm going to go with the twisted citron on this one. Grab the light one. True stories, I don't wash my brushes normally ever. I wash my class brushes, but I don't usually wash my home brushes. And I could tell they were starting, because I hadn't been using them a lot, they've been starting to get kind of crunchy on top, probably because the ink was dry. I ended up washing them twice. So I washed them once, they looked like they were cleared. I thought we were good to roll. And then I got back later, I came back later to them, and it was like the ink that was like further down in the brush had already wet and seeped back out to the front. So, you know, you could see that it was like, and so then I washed them again. They probably could have got washed a third or a fourth time, but I was fine with getting, I got the dried ink off, which was my main goal there. So it is what it is. Alright, so for this one, I think we're going to go here. We can go this way, or we can go this way with this one. Do I want my log kind of sitting up and on the edge? I want this little guy kind of coming in there. My little lily pad. I can go this way. My little frog. You need to be sitting on the side or in the front. I kind of like making visual triangles with those things. Let's see. Alright, and the rest is just the little stuff. So, kind of figuring out where I want my big things to be. I think I'm content with that. We could definitely move the log over this way. I think we'll move the log towards the bottom. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to start with this layer, and I'm going to put this one down first. I didn't get glue all the way up top. That way, if I want to, I can sneak stuff just beneath the top layer there. So, like, say I decided I want this up there, I can just tuck it in just a little bit, and I don't have to worry about, you know, building my layers really fast. I can kind of work around what I have going on. And the same with the pond. I'm just going to kind of give myself a little bit of wiggle room around the outside, so that way I can come in and add the tufts of grass and stuff if I feel that I want them to be behind the pond instead of in the pond. So don't feel like it's, you know, you have to do it one way or the other. I think I like the log towards the bottom here. And then setting the little frog on top of it. And you could definitely add some layers of... I was not very good at lining that one up, was I? Interesting. Okay. Maybe I have them I probably have it upside down. Oh, well, you know. I cut it out upside down. Wow. No comment. Okay, well, when you're cutting the frog, make sure that his eyeballs are on the top of his head, not by his feet. I mean, he really cut out well opposite. So, good to know. I'm just coming in with the scissors and kind of fixing that outline a little bit. He looked a little off. Only because I colored him, I cut him out upside down. Go figure. Anyways, we'll get him on there. I think we're going to put him on a little action wobbler. I know we've used these in the past. I don't know if we've used them lately. I have some big ones and some little ones. This one, this little guy can probably go with a little one. You can pick these up. At Hobby Lobby has them for cheap. I'm trying to think what the other brand is. Like the Wobbler ones are a little bit better. I find the Hobby Lobby ones aren't always the greatest at staying together. You can also pick them up off of Amazon for fairly cheap as well. You can also make your own with a little piece of wire and 2 pieces of paper. Those are sitting around here somewhere. I think I bought them that way. But they also, you can also just make them that way. I like ease of use on this one. So I will add glue onto the back part here. And then I will add my little froggy guy on there. See, because then he just like moves a little bit. He's cute. Alright. We're going to go up there with a little lily pad. It's a whole lot of green. Okay, let's go with our little flower. So we're going to put the little flower on top of the little lily pad. I can't talk today either. Whee! Okay. Now my little tufts of grass. And this is where I say if you put that little ledge around there, you can definitely tuck them in here and there. The other thing with ponds and grasses is you can definitely, I'm just going to cut off a couple of them and make it look like they're stuck in the water. But I want to get this one underneath here. Sure, the one spot that I glued down good. Well, we're just going to lay it on top. Okay. My glue oozed or something. Alright. Fingerprints. Glue prints. I'm going to cut off the bottom portion here so it kind of looks like it's in the water. I suppose that would probably be straight, not crooked, huh? And then we'll do the same for this one. We're just going to cut that one off. Put that one over here. And then we'll put this one down in the front here, next to the log. And then of course I have my 2 little dragonflies. I think then we'll go here with one. I'm going to put my sentiment towards the top. And so I'm going to wait with the other one until I have my sentiment down. And then I can decide where we're going to put the other little guy. Let's grab her stamp set back. Let's see. Happy Father's Day, happy Mother's Day, totally awesome. Congrats on your new pad, move to a new pad, happy birthday. I just want to do you're totally awesome on this one. I think we're going to pull in the pink. It's this one. This one is probably close in color. Oh look, I have a scrap of pink that's on my desk that I colored with my, you know, blending brushes last week. You're awesome totally. Let's try you're totally awesome. Do I need to split it up? I might need to split it up. Alright. Go this way, this way. Do I have... I should have the little ones. So I'm going to try to spread these out enough to be able to cut them out each individually on that one. And then for this one, I'm going to bring in the VersaFine Onyx Black for my sentiment here. It's going to stamp really well on top of the Distress Oxide. I'm pretty sure that one is worn lipstick, if you were wondering. So yes, it's already dry. Otherwise, I do it the same way, especially if I'm not doing an embossing powder over the top, which I'm not for this one. So you can definitely ink blend your base piece first and then stamp on top of it. If you're not doing a clear emboss, you don't have to wait for it to dry at all. And then I need to find Avery L's. I'm using Avery L's little sentiment strips here. There are some other companies that have them. Because I don't think Avery L isn't in existence anymore, I think. But I'm just going to take, I can probably find 3 actually that are going to work. So, totally awesome. I'm going to end up shifting because they're not exactly the right size. This one. So I have one that's probably sized right. The one that goes over the totally is probably sized right. I'm just trying to cut down on my cut time here. So I'm going to use, I just had my whole pile was stuck to me. I'm just going to try to line that up as best I can on one end, so that way I can come back through on a second pass and kind of just shift them all whichever way they need to shift for the 2 that are going to be too big. Okay, once I have that on, where's my top? Woohoo! Okay. So for this one, I'm just going to shift it down to the other end, making sure that it is where I want it placed on the back. You can definitely take your washi and kind of just wrap it around and hold it in place that way. It's not going to move that way. At least I struggle sometimes with it moving on the after the fact. which is annoying. So if you wrap your washi all the way around from the back side, even if you can't get the washi off on the back side, nobody's going to see that part anyways. And so I'm just going to come around both sides. It's going to hold it in place a little bit better. And then for this one, I really just need to get that one little edge cut on there, so you can really just go forward and backwards quick, and then you should have your pieces should have cut. Set this one off to the side again. And then we'll peel it off. Oh, of course I had text on it. Okay, if you do that with your washi, make sure there isn't any wet ink on the side that you're adhering to the front. We're just going to go with it. It'll be alright. I think this is the only one I have. A mono eraser is going to come in handy. It's a sand eraser. And I'm just going to hit that little area where there's a little bit of black ink that transferred. Sometimes it'll get it off. Sometimes it won't get it off. But, you know, it's handy when it does work. Okay. So for this one, I have You Are Totally Awesome. And I think we're just going to kind of go down like that. And our little purple, the last one. So for my card base, I think I'm going to bring in that purple in the little dragonflies. I think that'll coordinate well. I think this one is already cut to an A2 size. 5.5 high, 4 1/4. When I have scraps or I cut down 12 by 12s, usually when I'm done with them and I have leftover pieces, I'll cut them into A2 size panels because that's the size I use the most anyways, and so if they're big enough and they won't fit in my little cubby or my little basket, they fit better into my little cardstock, I don't know, scrap basket in A2 size. It saves time, like now. Okay, so I'm just going to center this one on there. Pop that one on here, and then we will pop this one onto a card base for the inside. It'll probably end up being like a thinking of you or a birthday card. I don't know what I want to do with this one yet. It could definitely be a congrats card as well. So I think for this one, I'm just going to go in and put the little smiley frog in the center, and then I can add my sentiment later on. Do I want the big one or the little one? I'm going to go with the big one. So I'm just going to add this one in. Let me grab the other one. My other one still has all of the stuff that we just got done using in it. So I'm just going to add him on here at this time, and then I will come back in later and figure out what I want on the inside for a sentiment. I mean, I usually do. I always run out of birthday cards. I'm not great at getting them in the mail. So there's that. I'm just going to come in with a, we can go with an olive, will probably work. It'll coordinate with this one. So I'm using a Close to My Heart, just a dye-based ink pad. I'm going to add this one in there. If you're looking at like peeled paint maybe or crushed olive, if you're looking at the Distress oxide line, I tend to not stamp in the Distress regular inks because they're not a great stamping ink. The oxides, because of the pigment, stamp better, but that's why I have the full range of, or you know, the old full range of the other ones, so I try to use that one when I can. Alright, so we will add something else in that one later. We're just going to pop this one onto the card base. And then we're going to come in with some Glossy Accents and add just the little Glossy Accents to their little froggy eyes. It's going to make those pop once they're dry. It's just kind of a fun little accent to add on there. So I got my little buggy, and you could definitely use Action Wall or like wiggly eyes for those if you want. I think I want glitter glue yet. And I'm just going to come in with some Stardust Stickles and add just a little bit of glue. Whoops, maybe. A little bit of glitter glue to the wings here. I haven't used my glitter in a while. It's clogged. And if that's the case, I probably shouldn't go directly to my project. I should probably try it on a separate piece of paper. Okay, we're working. And I just get a little bit on the tip, and then I actually just use the tip to spread it. So it's not actually very thick. It's actually just a little dot on the tip, and then I just kind of spread that little dot out over the wings. So you shouldn't have like a big old gob on there. A little goes a long way. I want to put glitter on my flower too. Alright, there we go. So that should be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You guys are totally awesome. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Keep getting inky. Bye.